Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Roulette. Today, we are trying out something a little different, so we're gonna see how this goes here today.
Yeah, remember that thing we kept saying through multiple episodes where we were like, oh, we'll talk about that later. Well, that later is now, sort of.
Yes, that's right. It's time to talk about topics. So this series came about, I guess, just because we wanted something more to talk about than movies, or?
Well, one, it's because we realized that during certain films, like, we brought it up in the episodes, like,
Yeah.
we could talk about this topic, but it would add another hour to the episode.
So we're like, hey, more content.
And also, right here is supposed to be the first episode of our Guilty Crown episode, but due to time restraints, we couldn't sit through the chunk of the series we want to. So these are also kind of filler episodes in case we can't sit through a series quick enough. Usually this will take the spot of a TV episode.
Yeah, and it was kind of a mix of time constraints and the fact that we're like, we just got done with another thing. We didn't feel like sitting through a TV show right now, I guess, because of the holidays and you had college and finals, so.
Yeah, and also it's Christmas time, and you're saying that the show gets kind of depressing, so let's not do that.
A little bit, yes. Yeah, it has its sad moments, so.
Yeah, let's just not do that. Instead, do a topic wheel.
Yes. Yeah, so we chose a bunch of different topics, and which consist of things that we feel need to talk about, or things that we just have that are gripes with the film industry, or things about it. So, yeah, this ought to be interesting.
We get to bitch and moan for an hour, and you're forced to listen.
Because I know with, Cinema Roulette, we don't really want to do anything, too negative unless it's a bad movie, but this will be interesting to me, because it could...
Yeah, unless we accidentally get a super bad movie. Accidentally, or you people fucking force it on us.
Or Flatliners turns out to be as bad as everyone says it is.
Oh, God, we still have to think about
I know, yeah.
Are we going to try to record a bunch of episodes when you're over here in December?
Why the fuck not?
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we're doing something different because, we have to choose a topic. We're spinning the wheel at the beginning of the episode to choose a topic.
Yeah, and also no spoiler warning, obviously, because, well, we're not spoiling anything. If we do spoil something, we will give fair warning beforehand.
Yeah, because this isn't about one specific movie. It could be about multiple movies or things in movies. So,
but either way, let's do something that I've been waiting to do for a while.
Yes! Oh yeah, it's been forever, dude.
It has. And we're gonna spin the wheel!
Yeah!
I mean, not right there. We're gonna do it now.
Yeah!
Okay.
Ooh, what did we get?
We're going to talk about the horror renaissance going on right now.
Ooh, this will be a very interesting one. Yes.
Because, okay, what do we mean by... We should probably explain what we mean by fucking horror renaissance, though.
Yeah, because... Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry, Justin. But...
You should be. I have to edit this episode.
Okay, so horror renaissance, what we're talking about, because, horror films were big in, the 80s to early 90s and stuff like that. But then, I'd say the late 90s to early 2000s, it kind of started to trickle off a little bit.
Well, no, it was 80s it was doing fine. Late 80s it kind of went downhill. Then 90s came around. Scream happened, resurgence, and then it went back downhill.
Yeah, and for the longest time, it just kept going. Horror movies are basically just a throwaway. There was this long period of time where they weren't scary or they didn't really mean anything, and it just kind of a painful time for horror fans.
I don't even care if they mean something. It was just 90% ghost movies.
That was a big thing.
Because Paranormal Activity was big, and then everyone realized, hey, you can make a horror movie for $20, and then it's fine.
And there were some good found footage movies that came out around that time, but it's most of them were just throwaway and garbage. And I mean, The Conjuring was a decent movie, but that was the only one that really sticks out in my mind, really.
As Above, So Below.
Well, As Above, So Below, yeah.
That's demons, and then you can debate if ghosts are demons, but...
Yeah, because that was, I think 12 or something, 2012?
Yeah, that was still in the bad times.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, and kind of just out of the blue, like horror has started becoming really good again for some reason.
Probably because, well, I kind of want to thank Blumhouse. They've been doing a lot of horror, and I don't know where it started. I want to say Get Out was a good first step.
Well, even before wasn't It Follows before Get Out?
Was it? I forget.
I'm pretty sure it
also,
was.
if you hear a lot of typing in this episode, it's because, again, we didn't know the topic we'd be covering. So if we have to look something up, I apologize.
We're kind of just researching it on the fly.
Like, we know enough of what we want to say. I also didn't stop recording, I realized.
It Follows was 2014, and Get Out was that the same year? Hold on. No, Get Out was 17. That was just 2 years ago.
Okay, so It Follows was a good start. Yeah, I think 14. Get Out is what shot to popularity, though.
Yeah. Well, because
shot back.
Yeah. Well, and I think I would debate like maybe a little bit before Get Out, honestly.
Well, it started getting good again in horror circles. Like you had It Follows. Oculus is a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
Except the ending's debatable.
Yeah. So.
Krampus is a lot of fun. You haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen it, but it is on the wheel, I'm pretty sure. So.
No, it was on the holiday wheel.
I remember that. Nah, but
are we just gonna do that once? We'll debate on what we're doing with that wheel.
Yeah, I have no idea.
If that, we might trash it. Who knows?
But yeah, from like 15-ish onward, it started going back. But yeah, then Get Out put it in popularity, and it's been just doing really well since then. I mean, Evil Dead remake was also actually really good. So
yeah, that was. Oh, The Babadook was also 2014. Yeah, it started in 2014.
Yeah.
And there was a Dead Snow sequel. Hey, we're not talking about that.
I completely forgot there was a sequel to that movie.
Oh, there's two. There's
what?
2 sequels.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Nope.
Even The Purge Anarchy was in 2014. That's a lot better than the first one.
Yeah, because they actually decided to show The Purge and have fun with it.
I also have heard Creep is a good movie.
But yeah, go on.
Cooties is I'm just looking at like what it comes up when you look up horror movies on Google, and Cooties is on there. I've been meaning to watch that film.
What is it about?
It's a zombie apocalypse, but it's at a daycare, I think it is, or it's like a preschool, and all the children are zombies. So you'd be too scared to watch it. But
that sounds amazing, actually.
It has Elijah Wood in it.
Oh, of course.
I also want to sit through all the Wreck movies at some point.
Are those good?
Apparently, but there's 4 of them, and like I think the third one's cover is a woman in a wedding gown with a chainsaw. So I want to know.
It's like that one flash like forward and in Archer that they ever do with like one of them in a wedding dress and Pam having a rocket launcher on the back of the car.
Yeah.
It's like
What We Do in the Shadows came out in 2014. That's a movie that's getting a shit ton of buzz now. And there's even a TV show out. I still need to see that movie. It's on my list of vampire movies I need to watch. Okay, I'll stop focusing on just 2014 horror movies for a second.
But still, that was the big resurgence there. That was when it started to, come back. So
that's when people were remembering, oh yeah, we can make good movies.
Isn't 14 the same year the first John Wick came out?
I think it is, which would be the action renaissance, but that is a different topic.
Yeah, because the 2 big renaissances from 14 onward were action and horror. And it's just so interesting to me that out of all the genres to make a comeback, it's fucking horror, which I'm happy about. But it's like, I'm having trouble pinpointing why this became such a thing is the thing.
Well, also, just quickly before I explain, or explain at least my thought process. 2015 also had The Visit, The Vavitch, and Krampus.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Which I would say The Vavitch or The Witch.
Yeah.
If I want to stop
it's
being a dick about it.
It's stylized with a V, The Vavitch.
that one started because there's two types of horror at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's standard horror, which works like any horror movie you've seen. Stuff like Happy Death Day,
Yep.
Us, Get Out. That sort of has a normal horror feel to it. The Witch started like this art house indie feel to horror films.
Which is so interesting. It's actually really cool because they can get a lot more trippy with it.
Yeah, that's where we get stuff like Hereditary, Midsommar, and
Yep.
it's this really slow burn but really good feel.
Yeah, it's a slow burn, and then once they actually get to the horror stuff, it makes the build up and the payoff so much more better.
And actually, in Hereditary and the Witch, I have to say it like that every time because
that's how I say it. That's not gonna bug me. Don't worry.
me and my brother jokingly say it that way to each
Yeah.
other.
The Vavitch.
But those movies do gore really well because it's not constant,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes, it's really brutal and really shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to mention a scene from Hereditary, but you haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
And I'll give Hereditary this. That movie scared the shit out of me.
Really?
I don't know how to really feel about the ending. That's where it kind of loses me. But I want to describe a moment.
Yeah, you can't. I'm sorry.
I'm debating because without getting in specifics, it's one of those moments where you're like looking at a character, but then as your eye scans around the room, you see something else, and it's like, oh shit.
Ooh.
It's so weird. I need to focus.
You're good.
Cause I can go off on all these tangents, and I'm trying my best not to. But yeah, there's this indie horror side, and I'm absolutely loving it because it allows for the weirdness.
Yes.
I was going to backpedal because you asked why this is happening.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is because, well, besides the occasional like John Wick or Baby Driver for action, that's fallen pretty stale.
Not now, no.
Not now. Well, I mean, with a lot of mainstream action, like we usually can find the really good shit.
Yes. Well, John Wick is pretty mainstream. Kingsman's mainstream.
Yeah. Kingsman 2 I would debate on.
I still really enjoyed it.
Not that if it's mainstream or not, if it was good.
Yeah, it that's another topic for another day, but it
that's when we cover Kingsman at some point.
I thought it was fine. It was not as good as the first, but it was fine.
But action, besides the occasional darling every like 3 months, I want to say, that's fallen stale with just being kind of superhero movies.
Well,
drama decides not to really come around till Oscar season. And American comedies are the biggest joke because none of them are funny.
There hasn't been many good American comedies in like years.
I heard Booksmart was good. I think it's called Booksmart. A lot of people said that was good. 8th Grade, that's a really good movie, but not. I mean, it's a good comedy, but that's not the reason it's good.
Yeah. I mean, American action comedies have been around, and those have been pretty good. But
yeah, but no straightforward comedies are that enjoyable, honestly.
Because there was what year did The Nice Guys come out?
The Nice Guy. I want to say that's 2017 or 2016. I'll check.
I think it was 16.
I'll look. The Nice Guys, 2016. Yep.
Yeah, there was The Nice Guys. There was The Bodyguard. You said was another fairly good action comedy.
The what?
Bodyguard.
I haven't seen a movie called The Bodyguard.
The one with Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Gosling.
The Hitman's Bodyguard.
Hitman's Bodyguard. Sorry.
The Bodyguard is a movie, and I know it exists. I haven't seen it. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, and then there was also Hobbs and Shaw. Looks pretty good. But yeah, action comedies are fine, but comedies just, in general, just...
are lacking, to say the least.
Very lacking.
And that's... Oh, I'm surprised we didn't put comedies on the wheel.
Yeah.
But
I think just because we get too depressed, honestly.
yeah, that would just be us bitching and not in a fun way.
No, I don't think that'd be interesting. That's probably why we decided no.
And I have a feeling it would just turn to preaching to the choir. Like, people who agree with us would be like, okay, yeah, of course, that's how bad comedies are. And then there would be the people who do enjoy those comedies, and then they'd be, fuck you.
But anyway, back on topic.
Which, it's also okay if you enjoy those movies.
Yes.
We don't. It's just how it works. But
back on topic, the horror renaissance has been...
Well, the reason I'm saying is, like, all other genres feel kind of stale.
Mm-hmm.
But horror, since no one takes it fucking seriously, at least critics don't, and studios, I'm pretty sure, don't give a shit.
Probably.
It's just allowed to do what it wants, and it can just be creepy or weird, or it can be very serious and grounded.
You know what? That is very true, and I didn't even think about that. Is that, you know, they probably are way more lax on what you can do with a horror movie, because they're probably just like, oh, it's a horror movie. We don't need to think about it as much. Like, say, if it was like, say, a big mainstream action movie like Fast and the Furious, or like a Marvel movie, let's say, like, the studio would probably be breathing down their neck saying, okay, you have to do this. No, we don't like this. Horror's probably just, they still probably think it's just a throwaway genre. Like, oh, whatever.
Is Justin allowed to talk slightly about budgets?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try not to go deep on this because it's also on the wheel,
yeah.
But, like, to prove the point, the budget for Get Out was only $4.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Visit was $5 million, and Us was $20 million.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just wondering for scale there, most Marvel movies are about $100 million or more.
I'd say at least 200 million, honestly.
No, they usually range around 100 million to 200 million, and then there's stuff like Avengers Endgame that hits nearly 400 million.
God, what a fucking waste of money.
Other topic.
I know.
What was It Follows budget? Out of curiosity.
Again, we're sorry for the long pause, as we, again, didn't have time to research this.
Only $2 million for It Follows.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. Just $2 million.
Holy shit. That turned out to be one of the most effective horror movies I had seen in years. Oh my god.
Sorry, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
$4 million for the Vavitch.
Yeah, so super low budget, pretty indie, yeah.
Yeah, less than 10 million, so if you get, like, even a small amount of views, you make your money back.
I guess that's another point, and another reason they don't have as much, like, you know, control over it is just because the risk is not as great as it would be with a bigger movie, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like if we just lowered movie budgets, we can get more creativity. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it's...
It's right there. We had to bring that point up, but... yeah, horror in... Go on, sorry, would you have anything else to say?
No, I was just sighing.
And that's why it's on the topic wheel, but yeah, horror in general, it's made this big comeback, and it's kind of great, honestly.
Yeah, because you get stuff like the Vavitch, which, okay, just talking a bit about the Vavitch, this is not spoiling anything, but I had a screening of it at my college, and the director was even there. And boy, I hated one of the teachers who talked after the movie was done.
I didn't know if you were going to bring that up.
Oh, I'm totally bringing this up because I want to talk about
that's a school you don't go to anymore, yeah?
No, this is the one I'm currently going to.
Okay.
But he taught, like, first off, without getting into what happens in the movie, he talks about how it's a pro-feminist film, which it is. But he started going fucking nutters on symbolism.
What was the phrase he kept saying? Showing rebellion to the patriarchy. The patriarchy, that's it. Just talking about the patriarchy.
Okay, this is in the opening of the film, so I'm not... Yeah. I don't feel bad spoiling it. But if you do, hey, just, like, jump ahead 10 seconds.
Is that... Yeah. I'm gonna give some time to jump ahead. Is that the one where they masturbate with the broom?
Yeah, you see the signature witch in the dark masturbating with the broom, and he says, like, oh, it's a it's a phallic object and she's showing dominance over it to crush the patriarch.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
okay.
If I was that poor director looking at him, I'd probably just be like, "What the fuck are you on about?"
I sadly couldn't stay for the Q&A, otherwise I would have raised my hand and be like, okay, how close was he to your vision? Like, just completely call out the teacher.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that takes some balls to say all this, like, this is how it is. And in front of the fucking director. That takes some fucking. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
The audacity.
who did Fahrenheit 4 or
The author for Fahrenheit
yeah,
451? Oh, fuck. I know who you're talking about.
because he went to a college speech about his book and he tried to point out that it wasn't about censorship and the teacher told him he was wrong.
What a fucking idiot. Ray Bradbury.
Thank you.
What a fucking idiot.
That's a talk of death of the author, which is not horror. But what I was getting at is horror movies are also, because Paranormal Activity had fucking nothing. It wasn't talking about anything.
It was just there to scare, which it was fine at. I don't hate the first one.
I don't hate the first one. That's the only one I watched too.
Yeah.
So I just know they got way worse.
First one's fine. And the first one literally was a no-budget film. The dude filmed it in his house.
Yeah, the acting was off at times, but that ending was creepy enough.
It was really well done.
But like before, those horror movies didn't have much of a point, and there are still some that are, you know, just there to scare or be thrilling, like Happy Death Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's very much an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But then there's stuff like Get Out, where it's clearly symbolism, or Us, where I've heard many interpretations of it, and it's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, because Us is a horror movie that's very ambiguous about it.
Midsummer is pretty obvious symbolism when you hear the director went through a really bad breakup.
I guess you said that was why it was the lesser movie, was just because there was all the good horror stuff and that was mixed in with that.
Well, no, because that movie wanted to be a slasher, but then he clearly changed gears after the breakup, but kind of tried to mix both movies in one script, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Hereditary is about grief. We mentioned this in our Babadook review that some people read it as a tale about schizophrenia.
Yep.
And usually it's read as depression, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of talk of depression. I don't know why. The mental health is great at the moment, and the world in general. Everything is fine.
Well, that and horror is a very easy topic to talk about depression, because you're supposed to be scared and vulnerable. So
you're not scared and vulnerable when you're depressed. It's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't get me.
But yeah, that's another thing, is I think they realized, hey, we can actually talk about symbolism, because there was kind of that a little bit in the 80s, wasn't there?
Well, it depended on the horror movie.
Yes. Because slashers were huge then. So.
And you could debate what slashers. Some people do read into slashers, some don't. It depends on who you are.
Yeah.
There was also some stuff in the early 2000s, like what am I thinking? The Strangers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a talk on kind of how we view violence now after 9/11.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Because the killers, when I guess this is a slight spoiler for The Strangers. Jump ahead 10 seconds. And, the victims ask the killers like why they're doing this. It was all they say is because you were home. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's creepy.
Also, I still need to watch the sequel of that because it's good throwback to 80s horror apparently, and that's great.
Awesome.
I think that's also another reason horror's coming back, is because the 80s is cool as fuck.
Yeah, action movies realized, hey, 80s were great for action movies, but why were they great? Wait a minute, they actually had color, and they didn't have all the shaky cam, and they realized, wait a minute, we can, have action scenes that are shot decently.
What if we made 80s action movies, but without the light tones of sexism?
Yeah, because there was a lot of that.
Yeah, like I watched a film called FX recently, and it had that moment where like he's gonna go, the main hero's gonna deal with the bad guy, and he has this chick who's been helping him the entire time, but she just gets kind of kicked out of the car, and he goes to do it on his own.
Of course.
Uh, that movie's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah. But yeah, horror,
But
I think, kind of did the same thing, where it's like, wait a minute, we can actually be suspenseful and not just be, have gore and it's scary.
yeah, it's like, what if we just didn't suck?
Pretty much. I was trying to kind of like think in my head, like, why are they so effective nowadays? Like you said, it's just a lot of indie stuff. They can get a lot more trippy, but it's just they can say more, I guess, and they can actually have good atmosphere. They can actually, be suspenseful and not just like, oh, jump scare, because that's what a lot of horror movies were back then, like in the mid 2000s, were just jump scare fests.
Yeah, it was just jump scare slashers or ghost movies.
Yeah, because jump scares aren't scary. I mean, they can, when used well, they can be effective, but if you make an entire movie where the jump scares are what it is, that's not scary. That's being shocked for a few seconds, and then...
The only, like, enjoyable horror series was debatably Saw in that time period. And even those went pretty downhill after the third movie.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, what did he direct?
Who?
Oh, the guy who... I will believe that because it's a spoiler, I just realized. Shit.
I know who you're... Yeah, I know what you're
talking
about.
But yeah, he made the film Upgrade, and that film is fantastic.
Yeah, I've been so meaning to watch that, but...
And it's made on like $4 million, and it has some of the best sci-fi effects I've seen in a while. And
low-budget sci-fi nowadays is really good, too, because was low budget. Ex Machina was super low budget and had great effects.
This kind of falls into what Twilight Zone did when it first came out, because... Okay, what's his last name? The creator of Twilight Zone.
God damn it. I should know this. Rod Sterling.
Sterling?
Yeah, Rod Sterling.
Okay. Rod Sterling, because he advertised it as just a sci-fi show for fun, because no one takes sci-fi seriously.
Yeah.
And if you think Twilight Zone is just for fun, you clearly can't read deeper than surface level.
Mm-hmm. Rod Serling. I'm sorry, it was S.
Serling. I knew I was going to say Sterling. I wanted to make sure, and you still fucked me.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Sterling too, but yeah, Serling is what it was.
Serling. Rod Serling. But yeah, that's why he made Twilight Zone, and I think that's what's happened with horror too, is just, okay, here's low budget, just make it scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make... Or how Cowboy Bebop was originally made on, we just want a show that sells toys, but you could do whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right, and then he made a very adult and one of the best anime of all time.
And he literally made one of the greatest animes ever made. I was gonna say something, but I forget it now. Damn it.
Don't hurt yourself. Another place horror has definitely grown, and it was growing in the years when horror sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Like super. We're talking like micro budget to no budget. Yeah.
Micro to no budget.
Yep.
Still, the scariest thing I've seen to date is Nightmine's coverage of Every Man Hybrid. That show scares the shit out of me.
Every Man Hybrid is fucking insanely scary. And I haven't even gotten to the bad part, and it's still every time I just think about it, scares the fuck out of me.
And you might look it up right now because you haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a Slender Man web series. How bad can it be? I don't know how these dudes did it. It's some of the most impressive planning, setup and payoff.
Yeah.
For a series done with nothing, little to no budget at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Wham City Comedy. They do the great horror shorts that are on Adult Swim.
Yes.
If you haven't seen unedited footage of a bear or This House Has People in It, look those up. They're a lot of fun.
Have you ever heard of Crypt TV?
Yes, Dead Meat works with them.
Yeah, they have some great horror shorts. I've watched quite a bit of their stuff.
Don't they have like full-on web series as well?
Yes. Yeah, because there's a monster they have called The Look-See, and there's one called The Birch, which I think is being made into a horror movie full length now, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. There's also the world of podcasting stuff like Welcome to Night Vale I love it so much.
Yeah, I fucking love that show.
I could talk for hours on Welcome to Night Vale with their books and the shows and just sorry, gushing a bit. What else have I? There's a new one I want to fucking mention it because season 2 starts in January. So you can talk and I'm going to look it up.
Well, shit, I don't have much to talk about at the moment.
You bitch.
But yeah, web series have been a great place to expand horror, I guess. Because on YouTube you have creativity to. Wow, thanks, Brandon. You have creativity to do whatever the fuck you want.
As long as the algorithm doesn't want to fuck you.
Yeah. With their new algorithm, I think it might be a little trickier, but yeah. Like you can have like cool effects and monsters and shit, but yeah, there's just something about low budget that gets under your skin, and I think that's another reason that found footage was so successful, is just because you can do so much with so little. You don't need like all these huge giant effects and stuff. Like sometimes what you don't see and what's left to your imagination is just as scary as what you could show. So
also the podcast is called Unwell, a Midwestern Gothic mystery.
Ooh, yes. Is it one flowing narrative or is it a different thing each week?
It's one flowing narrative.
Okay.
They just wrapped season 1.
Have you listened to all of season 1?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
They haven't really gotten into creepy stuff yet, but it's been saying up and it's good. I was going to trail off of you, but I forget where you were.
Talk about low budget and found footage and why it can be effective.
Yeah, that is also probably the other reason it's scary is not... Because you can sometimes tell when a movie is low budget, which makes it feel a lot more raw and real when they do something impressive.
Yeah, I think it's just so effective just because it blurs the line, and especially Everyman Hybrid blurs the line so well between reality and fiction that it starts to feel real. Like it feels like something that could actually be done. And because it's just so low budget, I think that's why it's so effective.
There's also the web series Daisy Brown.
Yes, Daisy Brown. Yep.
Because it's about this girl named Daisy raising a monster named Alan. Alan is clearly a puppet made of paper mache.
Yep.
But it still works.
Yeah.
And as you see Alan grow, it's clearly a dude covered in bed sheets or whatever with other paper mache limbs. But the way since there's like no bar, they're not exactly getting paid to act. They just have their passion to put into it. It feels so real and genuine.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is the no, that's a spoiler for a series. I highly recommend Daisy Brown. It's a short web series. It's over now, so you can go ahead and look into that. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Yep.
Okay. There's even horror Twitters.
Oh yeah, there are, aren't there?
Yeah, like The Sun Is Gone. I don't know if that's still going, but it's a guy who just one day the sun disappeared. The entire world is dark. He has no idea where anyone is, and trying his best to go find his friend and family.
Yeah. There's another really indie one on YouTube called Local 58. Have you heard of that one?
Called what? Say that again?
Local 58.
I haven't heard of that one, actually.
Where it's kind of the opposite situation where, like, the moon is actually its own thinking entity.
Oh, you're cutting out super hard. I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties. But yeah, there's one called Local 58. and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the opposite, where like the moon is like the main bad guy, and it's like its own kind of like weird entity. It's actually really creepy and really well done, because it looks like one of those things, where it's like late at night, it's recorded off of like a local station. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really creepy and effective, and it's not that long either. There's only like, let me see, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 9 videos as of right now. So,
Nice.
but yeah, they're one, I guess, that's just starting out. That's actually really really cool. So, but yeah, local series like just in mini micro budget series like that can be also very well done. So, blows my mind, man.
I would highly suggest looking into Nightmind, because he will send
Yes.
you in the right fucking direction on shows and stuff to pay attention to.
Nightmind's great. He has one of the coolest fucking voices ever.
I'm so jealous of his boyfriend.
Why? What happened?
Because he gets to
Oh,
listen to that voice all the
Oh,
time.
Stop! I can only get so erect.
Jealous.
God damn. No kidding. Same.
There a while ago there was oh, I'm drawing a blank. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yes.
That's the series I'm thinking. That one was I think a budget of like $5,000 or something.
Holy shit.
I think they made a bit more on not Patreon. What's the Kickstarter? Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Even horror in video games has gone through a renaissance after fucking I want to say Resident Evil 7.
Maybe a little bit before then, because there was still a lot of really good indie horror, honestly.
There was like Amnesia, but then everyone tried to kind of like that was a good first step. Then people tried to copy it,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Because I mean, there was still, yeah, like I said, it wasn't like movies where like 95% of it was shit. It was still some really good indie horror stuff, but like mainstream horror, I guess we should say, in video games took off after Resi 7.
Yeah, like because after Resident Evil 6, there was a lot of stuff trying to do that. Like the first Evil Within, I still think it's a bit too action. The story is it's pointless.
The story's a mess, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it might have been Matt McMuscles or his friend Liam who said you can put Evil Within in any order and it will make as much sense.
Yeah, like you could still
Like as long as you have the beginning and the end at beginning and end, everything else can be wherever.
Yeah. Like first Evil Within, I still thought it was fine in parts, but yeah, hello. Seriously? And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
Good God. That was my internet. It was the problem. It did the thing where it's like, oh, like you don't have internet even though you do. And I had to right click and hit troubleshoot issues. So let's try this again. That's probably why, you know what? That's probably why it was fucking up so bad earlier, because it needed to restart. All right.
Nice. Okay, we are back. Where was I?
We were talking about
Don't
Hug
the
Me,
first Evil Within.
Yeah, we're talking about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, I think.
No, I started talking on video games. Did you catch any of that, or did you crash?
No, I caught all of that. Don't worry.
Okay.
I think I was trying to reiterate some, or not reiterate. I was saying something else. I said the first Evil Within I thought was fine, but it had issues.
It's just story-wise, you could put it in any order. And it's the same game. But then Resident Evil 7 happened, and it's fucking great. If you haven't played it, it's spooky and awesome.
Did Evil Within 2 come out after that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think.
Which is so
And
interesting.
Evil Within 2 is 20 million times better than the first.
Evil Within 2 is a fantastic game, and I don't think it got the recognition it deserved because of the first one, because of how the first one was.
Yeah, because the first one wasn't that great.
No. And it was just so interesting to me, it boggles my mind, because it was made by the guy who did Resident Evil. I was like, how do you mess that up?
Because he was rushed.
Was he for the first one?
Yeah, they wanted it out in a year or so.
Really?
That's why the letterboxing wasn't able to be disabled till like a year later after it came out.
It was a long time, and my God, the game looks so much better without the letterboxing.
That's because of visuals. The way your eye reads visuals.
Well, yeah, but
Because a quick art tip: if you cut someone off right at the waist, it it looks wrong to your brain because there's supposed to be legs there.
Yeah, like if it's a closer up shot in a movie, that's fine. But if you're constantly just seeing the person above the waist, it's weird.
Well, no, if it's a close up in a movie, you have to go and cut off at the belly or slightly before the waist. Otherwise, it looks wrong
Yeah,
a lot of the time.
correct.
And the letterbox, since the camera was so close in Evil Within, constantly did that.
Yep, which is why it looked so shit. Because it literally, and it wasn't even letterboxing in the like it wasn't in a traditional sense where like you do have more room on the sides. No, it's literally they slapped a bar on top and bottom.
Yep.
Because the reason that some movies are like that is because you have more space on the sides to have a more sweeping scene. But no, literally, it's the lazy version. They just here's a bar, done.
It looks cinematic.
Yeah.
There was also Last of Us, which had an interesting take on zombies.
Yep. Well, that was before any of that. I think that was 2012 or 10 or something.
I think that was 14.
14. It was
13
right,
or 14.
It was right before the PS4 came out.
Yeah. Oh, and then they had the remastered edition.
A year later. The only thing they did is bump it up to 60 FPS.
No, it's not 60, it's 45.
Oh, sorry, 45, but it literally is one of the most gorgeous games that ever came out on the PS3. It did not need a remaster, but I digress.
Or they could have waited.
Mm-hmm.
But need that money.
But yeah, horror games definitely has made a comeback, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. Even the Cthulhu game I heard was okay.
Yeah, the Call of Cthulhu. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a horror has just been having this happy little resurgence, and I'm not sure how many people outside of horror are paying attention except to Jordan Peele movies.
Yeah, well, and for the wrong reasons too, I'm sure in a lot of cases.
I mean, Happy Death Day did well enough to get a sequel. I'm not sure how good the sequel is. I have not heard.
Heard the first one's pretty good though.
The first It was
yeah,
praised and enjoyed, and then people didn't really like the second one.
The second one I heard is really bad, but it's enjoyable because of how bad it is what I heard. It gets
well, it's
like,
also near like 3 hours,
yeah,
so
it gets like, I heard it gets psycho bonkers crazy at the end, like, which is
wait a minute, we've been covering a horror show that kind of came about during this renaissance of Hannibal.
Yep.
Where it also has that whole art house feel to it.
Yes. It's just great. Yeah, I think, is there anything else we have to say on it, or?
With art house, I was going to say, even Chucky started doing that. Not the one with Mark Hamill, the actual Chucky series.
Yeah, the most recent one that came out was actually really good.
Cult of Chucky,
yes.
And there's one before that.
Yeah.
Curse of Chucky.
I heard those were surprisingly good for like movies that weren't released in theaters.
Well, here's the thing: the director worked on Hannibal.
Ah.
So, yeah, the Cult of Chucky. That one has a great, like, fantastic cinematography and also a pretty awesome story.
Really?
Did you know Chucky is the longest going horror series?
Really, Chucky is.
Yeah, well, continuous, because since the Mark Hamill one isn't technically a reboot,
yeah,
that's its own separate thing, and that has to do with studio licensing, in case you don't know, and it's a really complicated mess, and just try not to worry about it.
Yeah.
But basically, the original creator of Chucky, he's been going since the 80s. Yeah. And it's been the same story. Like, Seed of Chucky is still canon.
Wow.
And it's been going, I think, over 30 years.
1988
yeah, like,
was
almost 40 years at this point.
Yeah, 1988 is when the first Child's Play came out.
Yeah, it's the longest ongoing horror series.
Because, I mean, Saw was really long going,
But, well, I think this is long going year-wise, not movie-wise.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hellraiser might beat it in how many movies there are. I forget how many Hellraisers. I think there's like 8.
Hellraisers?
Yeah, there were a bunch that were straight to DVD.
I always forget that it's that many.
On, do you want me to look up how many Hellraisers there are?
Yeah, we may as well.
How many Hellraisers? 10.
10. Jesus.
There are 10 Hellraiser movies. No. No, audience. I hear you. No.
Nope. Sorry, guys.
We'll talk about the first two.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
The first two, actually, Arrow Video recently came out with a big remaster of them. So.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Arrow are such nice guys. Also, foreign horror movie recommendation, and this one might come up sooner for reasons. It's called One Cut of the Dead. Go watch it. Don't look up into it. Just get it. You can import it from brand. It works on American Blu-ray players. Just go.
Yep.
Watch it. It was made with $25,000. It's great.
Hell yeah.
But we might cover that. We probably will.
I would say so.
I will force Cameron to watch it.
Which I will happily do.
I'm hoping I get the Blu-ray for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, is it on your list?
That'll be a problem.
Is it on your list?
Yes.
Nice.
Anywho. Yeah, I think that's the first topic, Wheel.
Yeah. Honestly, it was all right. I know we got off topic a lot, but we could have done a bit better, but there wasn't really too much to go into. It was just horror's making a comeback. Here's why. It's great.
Well, I think the tangents are just kind of what happens with the topic wheel, but we stay as focused as we need to.
Yep. So, yeah. That was awesome.
Oh, and also, let me quickly say, I'm so happy horror remakes have seemingly died. Like, there was the Chucky one, but the Nightmare on Elm Street one, I think, is caught in hell at the moment.
Ironic.
Friday the 13th, they canceled.
Yep.
I don't know anything else that was threatening to be remade.
Because, I mean, Halloween was already remade, too. That was another remake, which I heard was decent, actually.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. Technically, that's like a reboot/sequel. It's weird.
Because, yeah, Laurie, what's her name? The person who plays Laurie Strode is still in it.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
With 2018 Halloween 2 is no longer canon, so it's just Halloween 1 to Halloween.
Yeah, it's Halloween
2018.
2. Yeah.
But then there's a timeline where it's Halloween 1, 2, 4, and 5, 4 to 6.
4 to, yeah, but Halloween 2 was the end of the series. That was a perfect ending to it, but nope.
And then Halloween 3 happened, and people would debate that that's a bad one, but I think it's good, and I have the cool Mel case.
I enjoyed it. I actually did enjoy Halloween 3, yeah, because they were originally going to do a more anthology horror after they killed off Mike Myers, but people were like, no, it doesn't have Mike Myers in it. Bad.
Boo, you murdered a child. Wait. Anywho.
But yeah, that was that, and we don't spin at the end here. We'll spin at the beginning of the next topic, so...
Yeah, whenever that is.
Sometime in the future.
I think next is the final episode of The Wheel.
Let me double check.
The first wheel.
Should be. Raw footage. There you are. Hamill Season 2, Fight Club, 43. Yep, it'll be World's End. Yeah. World's End, and then the fuck no list.
The recap and the fuck no list.
Yep.
So yeah.
Hell yeah! All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
We'll see you all next year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're gonna see us again, but we're in the most present timeline of us talking to you.
In this timeline.
It's weird. Don't think about it.
All right, everyone. See ya.
Bye.